So these are the Playmates Star Trek The Motion Picture action figures. And I have here the only ones ever made with the exception of this Ilea figure that was in a different wave. And then they only made these. They didn't make all the bridge officers. So, but still, with Ilea, it's a pretty good set. And it also has sort of a build a figure element to it, because you can build a version of the V'ger probe, or actually Ilea was the V'ger probe, but you can build a version of V'ger that was the cause of all the calamity in Star Trek The Motion Picture. So these figures are special to me because they are the only figures that cover this uniform style, other than these old Mego figures that I got back in the 80s. And you can sort of compare. These were much smaller. These are the 3 3/4 scale, and they're very old, not nearly as detailed. Of course, I really liked these when I was a kid. Let me show you. Here's the Spock versus, and the Playmates ones are slightly more accurate, although but some things about the Mego ones are more accurate, like Spock's badge should have been red, like that. The Mego ones didn't come with any accessories, and if you look on the back, you can see the other characters you could get. You could only get Kirk, Spock, Decker, Ilea in a Starfleet uniform, Scotty, Dr. McCoy, and then the very rare aliens. There was a Klingon, a Zeranite, a Betelgeusian, a Rigelian, Meganite, and Arcturian. So these aliens are much harder to find. So these are the old Mego Star Treks. Now, they also made some 12-inch dolls that had these uniforms, but those dolls didn't age very well. If you were looking to buy them, they're not hard to find, but the faces changed color over time, and that plastic's sort of a greenish gray. It looks really awful. So all things considered, this is about the only way you could get these old style uniforms in an action figure. Now, and the only characters you could get were Uhura, Sulu, Spock, Bones, and Kirk. And just for good measure, I'm going to open up this Saavik figure that's in the same wave, but she's wearing the more common post motion picture uniform with its red tunic. So, but other than that, this is a wave of the Star Trek movie series figures. Now there's another video I'll do that covers the other characters put out in this wave, such as Khan, General Chang, Commander Krug. There was also Martia, and of course Saavik. Well, we're covering Saavik today, and I'm adding a few, so there will be 6 figures to look at on that video too. So, but I'm pretty excited to open these. These figures are 25 years old or so. So, and I'm going to give you a little bit more trivia as we continue to go on. Notice they all come with a collector's card, except Spock, because Leonard Nimoy personally did not like the collector card. He did not want one included with his figure. So Spock is the only one that doesn't have the card, and that was per Leonard Nimoy's wishes. Starting with Kirk, let's just kind of go over the packaging. The packaging is the same for all of them except the little part here, and then there's a little cutaway if you want that has a little of a bio on the character, and it says clip and collect. And if you look carefully, this is like the stylus and the captain's log thing that Kirk would sign, which is a neat little touch. And there's a description of the accessories you get. And in this case, like, Kirk comes with a Type 2 phaser, and not to be confused with the Type 3 phaser that we saw, or maybe even Type 1 again. They got rid of this phaser after the first 2 movies. It was very modern looking. In the motion picture, it's only visible in one scene in the entire movie when some security guards are wielding them. And then in The Wrath of Khan, we see it a little bit more. And I always kind of remember this phaser because it was so devastating. If you watch The Wrath of Khan, when Captain Terrell shoots someone on in the Genesis cave and then shoots himself, the disintegration effect is incredibly awful to watch. Then I always thought these phasers, as a kid, I was, you know, felt like this was the much more sinister phaser than the other ones. So he also comes with a wrist communicator, which is something they abandoned after the motion picture. A captain's log, like iPad, and then a part of V'ger. And there's an ad saying that they're going to release Star Trek Voyager figures and typical Playmates with all kinds of stuff. They did not waste space. So let's go ahead and open up Kirk. The first thing you see is the stand, which it has a better sticker than what we're used to with Playmates. Of course, it's not on straight. That's just Playmates for you. Take out the accessories. There's a card, and here's the figure. So, the face is, they painted some wrinkles on to make him look a little older, kind of weird on his forehead. He has his little epaulets, which was a nice effect. I don't think that the Mego one had that. Well, maybe it did, but it wasn't painted. His Starfleet badge is gold, and he has the sleeve stripes to indicate his rank. Of course, he has pretty good posability. The likeness to William Shatner's decent. It's Playmates. He can bend his legs at the hip and the knees. He has 1, 2, 3 points of articulation in the arms, nothing in the waist, and he can bend his neck. So pretty decent. And accessory wise, there's this captain's log sort of iPad, which has a sticker on it that's not really sitting on it very well. Let's get this V'ger probe piece. Here is the wrist communicator that was abandoned. Kind of ugly, especially molded in that color. And here is the Type 2 phaser, the sinister, devastating phaser from the first 2 Star Trek movies. And he can hold it pretty well. So if you wanted to pose him with the pad, probably isn't going to be held very well. A lot of times they would throw in these accessories and with no way for Playmates figures to even hold them. You're lucky if you can get him to hold anything. But he can hold the phaser. He's on a nice, attractive stand here. And we have a V'ger piece. And spoiler alert, if you don't remember, V'ger was actually Voyager. The probe, well, it was modeled after a real-life probe that was sent back in the 70s to try to find life. And this probe is just crushed all heaven, and it's been crushed like this for almost 30 years, so it's gonna look pretty ugly when we build it. It's not gonna look all nice like this one, but at least I had to have one that's, well, maybe we could say this is what happened to V'ger after all those years in space. And what really kind of stinks about it is I wanted the probe in these colors to make it look more like the movie, but Playmates just crammed it in there. That's Playmates, so I'm not complaining because they're not expensive. You can find all these figures really cheap, and it's not like the V'ger probe is in scale anyway. And you also get some other stuff. You get a Star Trek customer reply card. Thank you for buying this quality Playmates product. And it would give you merchandise updates and Playmate surprises. I should try to send this, see what happens. And here's your collectible trading card. It has the same picture on front and back, but they kind of put a different background. Like, that's just Playmates. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to fix this. Maybe if I run it under hot water or use a hair dryer. But it's going to be kind of hard to get this in the right position. So that's Captain Kirk. Okay, let's do next his trusty first officer, Mr. Spock. And I just want to show you what he comes with on the back. He comes with a tricorder, an engineering tool that was seen in the movie, a Vulcan Kolinar necklace, which was seen in the first scene of the movie, that I guess he took with him. It's all molded in green, which is funny because it's a really colorful necklace. And another Voyager part that's probably crushed beyond recognition. So we're going to take off the stand, take out the tray, and let's look at Spock. Very sleek and shiny, very smooth, fluid movement with his arms, which I really like. The badge is the wrong color; it should be red. I like the idea. I like that his hand isn't molded in the Vulcan salute like so many of the other Spock figures. So you can actually make him a functional action figure. Bends at the knees, bends at the hips. See the pants. Interesting note. The cast hated these uniforms, which is why they were changed. Uhura, particularly, and Michelle Nichols hated the uniform. The pants and the boots were one piece. They had to actually get into the whole thing at once. And they were not flattering. William Shatner starved himself to look good in it. They hated these uniforms, and that's one of the reasons we got completely different uniforms after the next movie. So another reason it's kind of hard to find characters with these uniforms. And Spock's stand. Commander Spock. Interestingly, the Ilia figure doesn't have any identification on her stand because this was a different wave. The Ilia probe. And we can put Spock on this stand, standing next to Captain Kirk. And we can decide what parts or accessories we'll give him. And we have our Voyager parts. So it's going to be a damaged V'ger, which it still bums me out so much because these colors would look so pretty. Much better than this blue that came with Ilia. And then, so if you want, you can decide that Spock did in fact deserve the necklace, and you can put it on him if you want to. But that wouldn't be very accurate. You can give him the engineering tool because we see that in the movie. And considering it's playmates. But actually, interestingly, he can hold two things, which is better, which is one more thing than most playmates. This tricorder. Yeah, you can figure out what you want to put in his hands. You can give him the engineering tool, or you can give him nothing. You can just have him standing there like he usually did. So that's Spock, and a clunky V'ger. I'm kind of disappointed. Next we get Bones. He comes with some medical stuff, galactic accessories. He comes with a medical tricorder, a medical kit, a neurological scanner, and another V'ger part that's probably crushed, and a trading card. So Bones is in this sort of 1970s wide collar, swanky looking casual uniform, which is movie accurate because he had the open collar with, unlike any of the other officers. Kind of looks like DeForest Kelly. Oddly, I'm having a hard time moving his legs, whereas the other ones moved pretty easily. I think maybe his tunic may be a little bit longer. It is. That's the problem. It seems to be a different tunic, and it restricts his leg movement. So if you get a McCoy action figure, don't try to move his legs or you might break them, considering these figures are old. And then you can decide what items you want to give him. It might make sense for him to have the medical tricorder, and you can give him this neurological scanner. And or you can give him, they actually put pegs on it where he can hold his things a little bit easier. And this medical tricorder. And his stand. And it says Dr. McCoy. So you got Kirk, Spock, the Holy Trinity here of classic Trek. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, and another V'ger part. And it can snap. I think on one of these sides it should fit. To be honest, I'm kind of bummed that my V'ger is so beat up. I just don't think it's going to look that good when it's put together. It's not also wanting to stick together very well. There we go. Got that part in. Okay. And next is Sulu. Oh, wait, we didn't look at his trading card. So he comes with another one of these business reply cards, and he comes with a trading card. it has the same image on the front and back. That's probably why Leonard Nimoy was like, I don't want one of these. Okay, next let's look at Sulu. Sulu comes with a phaser, again, a wrist communicator, and a tricorder. So pretty much what Spock and Kirk have. So let's check out the figure. Different shade of uniform, this tan color versus the blue, which is movie accurate. I think at this point Sulu might have been Lieutenant Commander. I don't know if the wrist things are accurate or if he was still just Lieutenant. I can't quite remember. But in the face, it looks pretty good. Like George Takei. His badge. He can move his legs. Actually, this thing looks like a belt buckle. According to what I read, this was a bioscanner. And this actually would tell the computer at all times what their vital statistics were. So, a little trivia there about what that was supposed to be. And the stand says Lieutenant Sulu. And just to give some representation, I'll probably try to spread out the accessories. For example, his accessories are molded in a blue color, which is a little bit better than the red. So I think the phaser looks a little bit better in this color. So I might have Sulu holding a phaser and Kirk maybe holding something different when I display these. I'm not a fan of these tricorders, although it may be movie accurate. It doesn't look like much of anything to me. It just looks like a piece of plastic. But like, we can put the wrist communicator on Sulu. See? And maybe give him a phaser. The devastating Type 2 Starfleet phaser. That looks pretty good, actually. And put them next to the other guys, and we're getting a nice collection now. We're getting a really sharp-looking collection. Now we got another V'ger part. This one probably puts together a little bit easier. Yeah, so all things considered, it's going to be a beat-up V'ger, but maybe that's what we want. You know, maybe we want a V'ger that looks like it's been around the galaxy, and not I mean, I kind of like, in a way, I kind of dig it. I kind of like it. Okay, next, let's open Lieutenant Uhura. Let's just see what she comes with. She has a tricorder, she has a wrist communicator, and a pad, P-A-D-D. A counterpart to the tricorder, the pad both stores information and provides a link to the computers on the Enterprise. So that's kind of a different accessory for her. So if we wanted unique accessories, we might have Kirk with his captain's log thing, Spock with the engineering tool and the Kolinar medal, McCoy's. You know, we could spread it out a little bit. And a nice stand, Lieutenant Uhura. And let's see, we've got her tricorder, her V'ger parts, wrist communicator, And this is the PADD, the pad. So we can put her on the stand here. They did not give her a phaser. Nichelle Nichols, pretty good. Not the best face, but they didn't really change it much from the original Star Trek figure. But this is only supposed to be a little time after the original 5-year voyage anyway. She doesn't have a tunic, unlike the others. She just has sort of a jumpsuit. I know that Nichelle Nichols hated this uniform. She can hold that pad very well. She already has a wrist communicator that was in the movie, I think. And they molded one on, and then they gave us this silly looking one. Barely can fit the peg in there. And so this is the, let's finish V'ger up real quick. So we have V'ger, very beat up looking, compared to the one that came with the ILEA probe. Still, the paint looks better on this, so maybe in time that will start to look better. And a very handsome set of Star Trek figures in their motion picture uniforms, which I like. I like this set, and I'm glad to own this. I'm glad to display this. Some other accessories, and now we have one more figure to open up here. This is Saavik, same packaging. In this case, she comes with a Starfleet tricorder, another phaser, a better communicator, and a duffel bag. So, although she definitely doesn't fit into this movie, just for good measure, I'm going to open her, because she will display nicely with the other red tunicked Star Trek figures. Lieutenant Saavik on the stand. Trading card to go with these other trading cards. Now, interestingly, the tricorder looks to be of an improvement over the motion picture one. She can definitely hold it because there's a handle. The communicator is a little big and chunky, but it looks better than the silly wrist communicators. I wish it was painted, but you know, it's Playmates. And she has a duffel bag that's identical to the one that was on the Patrick Stewart ensign figure. And the uniform looks great. They didn't put the red stripe down the leg, which is kind of a bummer, but it looks really good. And it matches the other ones I have with this tunic uniform. And you can give her the accurate Wrath of Khan was still using this Type 2 phaser. And she has good movement. Her Legs are a little restricted by the tunic. But the figure looks pretty good. And I think it's going to look really good with... So, if we were to put over here the red tunic figures... Captain Kirk. And Scotty. First of all, you'll notice that with the red tunic figures, we have the whole bridge crew now. So anyway, you can get all the movie bridge crew. And for good measure, we even have a Captain Picard figure that we can add to it when he's in his ensign uniform. And so this set matches, There's 5 in this set, and there's 5 in this set. So you've got really 2 sets of movie uniforms that look really good, that display really nicely together. And that, to me, is worth it for the small amount of money you're going to pay for these Playmates figures. They're not very expensive. And the only doubling up you have is a Captain Kirk. But this way you've got Scotty. The only bad thing is the articulation on these isn't as good as the others, but whatever, you know. Spock with his engineering tool. You can give him his Kolinar medal. You can give him a tricorder if you want to. You can give him a wrist communicator. I think the Kolinar medal looks kind of dumb on him, considering he wouldn't take it. Uhura looks good. I really do like this set, though, as a display set. To me, this is great. I like it a lot. And if you're a Star Trek fan, you know, you should get these. Oops. I mean, you should go ahead and have your display, have your Sulu. And this way you get your whole bridge crew with some interesting accessories. You get a V'ger probe, and then, you know, you could put Ilea with it too. So you can have yourself a whole motion picture set. I don't think anyone begrudges the fact that there's no Decker in this set. There, if you really want a Decker really bad, you can get the Omega one. So I'm particularly pleased. I'll just show you one other figure that I got and that I've never showed a video of, and that's Kirk from the Tholian Web episode, which I really like. He comes with nice black accessories that look better, and a removable helmet, which is a really cool touch. You can see through it. But that's from the classic show. So, my nice collection of Star Trek movie figures. And I like it. I like the set. And later on in another video, I'll be showing you some of the other characters from the movies, like General Chang and Commander Krug and Khan and Martia. And you know what? It's hard as heck to find a good Dr. McCoy action figure. I mean, there's the old Admiral McCoy one, which is just kind of ugly. And then they have the classic television one, and I think that's it. For at least for Playmates. I mean, it's, if you look really hard, you can find a Mego one. But he's hard to find. I do like the Saavik figure a lot. Unfortunately, like so much of Playmates, they don't hold their accessories very well. Chekhov. And Captain Scott. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it inspires you to enjoy collecting and find the figures you like. Even if they're old, if they're cheap, go ahead and open them and have fun with them. Display them. You know, build your collection. Use them to draw pictures or inspire you, however it takes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, if you like my channel, feel free to subscribe and click the bell icon. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. I answer comments every week or two, so I will get around to answering yours. Thank you so much, and bye.